Hey everyone, it's been a couple weeks. Welcome back. It's another live chat. My name is Scott, and this is Kelsey. We're body piercers, and today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about piercings. It's like what we do every single week. Now, before we even get started, do subscribe. Super, super important. And what we want you to do is ask us some questions. So when you ask your questions, make sure you're as thorough as possible, because the more thorough you are to the question, the better off we're going to be able to ask that or answer it for you, you know? So, and just to let you know, behind the scenes, we do have Nova. So
Hi,
make sure
everybody.
everyone say hi to Nova. So Kelsey, how was your week?
It was a really good week.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You do anything kind of crazy piercing wise, or is it?
So, I mean, yesterday was technically my Monday. It was a super chill day. Did mostly jewelry changes, but I had about 5 piercings. So, but nothing out of the ordinary.
What about the last week or two? Because it's been a couple weeks.
Oh yeah,
We're
it's been
sorry.
a couple of
We had
weeks.
computer problems.
Yeah.
Everything shut down and we couldn't do it. So computer's back. Hopefully it's back to normal and we can continue doing these. So
Done a lot of paired stuff. Also pierced Nova's navel
Yeah.
The other
yes, you
day.
did.
At an
No,
8 gauge.
at an 8 gauge. It's super perfect. So,
Yeah, it is. I love it very much. I am going to be stretching it probably. I want to get it big. But yeah, we've got a bunch of people in here now. Say hi to Jesse. Hi to Nicola. Swampass, our main man back in the game. Hi, Keith.
Welcome in, everyone.
Isabella. We've got a question from Selena. Hi, is there criteria you look for when it comes to a doth piercing?
A little bit. You're looking for a ridge. I guess the biggest issue I've seen is sometimes on the bottom of the doth, instead of it having an angle and like having a pronounced ridge, it seems more flat there and flush, and it's harder to get those to heal. They're more prone to bumps. And then I have seen it before where it's just the anatomy of the ear doesn't accommodate room for the ring to heal it up initially. You know, if like the conch is too small and the doth is just too thick and you just can't fit the right size jewelry, it won't work. It's pretty rare, but I mean, what do you think?
I was actually going to ask, have you ever run into someone's anatomy where you were just like, you literally have no doth for me to pierce? I've only ever run into that one time, and she literally just had the flattest area
Yeah.
and no doth.
It's only a couple
Never
times
seen it
I've seen
before.
it. It's rare, but it happens, you know. So yeah. But that's
Absolutely,
pretty
good
much what
question.
it is. The biggest issue with doth piercings is earphones, earbuds, stethoscopes, things that go in your ear during the healing process. But generally, they're not that bad. Just get it pierced through the ring. Yeah, it's an awesome
It's a
piercing.
good one.
It is a good one.
Let's see. We've got a lot more highs from Charms, Isabella. Hi from Jax. From Natasha. Hi from Schiller Park, Illinois. Hi from Monica. Here we've got a question from City, who said, "Ayo, how you guys doing today? Going to start stretching my ears again, super slow this time. I don't know if you remember, but my ears had a bad allergic reaction and shrunk from almost 2 inches to less than 1.
Oh my gosh.
It's amazing when you have an allergic reaction like that. It's just you just lose so much so quick.
Your body just freaks out. It's
The
like,
good news is it does stretch naturally a lot easier, so that stretch back up shouldn't be too bad for you. Hopefully you have your old plugs. If you use the taping method, that's a nice gradual way to stretch back up. And
go weeks without wearing plugs in my ears, and I just get into the habit of just throwing in weights because I'm like in a rush to get to work or whatever. I'm just too lazy to put them in. But then, you know, here I am back at almost 2 1/4. So
it goes quick. They
Goes
they do
quick.
stretch back up. So yeah, be patient and you'll get there. You'll get there.
Absolutely. We have hi from Sammy. She said she got her snake bites done 3 weeks ago, and they're doing amazing. They're pierced perfectly. Don't touch gums at all. Super happy and excited to have them done.
Congratulations. Yeah, people don't understand that all the time, but like when you do the snake bites, you don't want them too low onto the lip, because when the disc rubs up against the gums, that's when you get gum erosion, and that's where you have all the massive oral problems. So yeah, it's sometimes just slightly angled up or high enough where it's like it might touch the teeth in the beginning, but once you downsize, it pulls it away and you're in the clear. As long as you check your beads, making sure they're on there so you don't bite down on that post.
Definitely important.
Yes.
From Jesse. Hi, everyone. This one. So my name is actually Nova with VA. I know it kind of sounds like Noah, but it's Nova. So yeah, I saw a couple people say that.
Noah.
So I just figured I'd throw that out there. She said, "What was the name of the piercing shop in NYC that you recommended last time?" I don't remember the specific one, but it was probably 9 Moons. My friend Johnny Pierce works there. It's owned by Star Ellis. It's an amazing shop. One of the coolest shops in the U.S., I would say.
What makes it so cool?
I don't know. I really like the way it looks inside.
The atmosphere.
The atmosphere. Johnny is also like an insane photographer, so everything that they do has this like really cool atmosphere and aesthetic.
Right on.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's a gift.
Indeed. From PB Carver, is it still advisable to get third piercings when one of my second piercings has a painful bump inside the earlobe that will not go away? I really want to get them, but not if it'll cause more complications.
I would maybe wait until it heals.
Are we saying third lobes?
Probably.
Yeah, it says third piercings, so yeah, I would guess.
Assuming. Okay.
I would assume.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it should be okay. Realistically, you can heal anywhere between 3 and 5 piercings at once. On the ears, it's really not too big of a deal. But if it's like a significantly large bump, then maybe wait until it goes down or goes away.
Because your body is trying to heal that
Right.
bump. And as soon as you get other piercings, the focus isn't 100% on that spot anymore.
Exactly.
So that's the reason why. So, but if you can't figure out why it's not working, assess the situation. Is it the jewelry? Have you changed jewelry? Is it something new? Are you wearing earphones? Is it, hair product? You got to really be an investigator and figure out why. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
I got something to say. Like, I had a customer come in the other day, super respectful guy, came in, wanted to get his nipples pierced, and he took off his shirt, and his whole body just looked shiny. And I was like, wow, those all look like fresh tattoos. He's like, got like 8 hours or 9 hours on my arm yesterday, and the whole bottom half, and the whole upper part. He's like, yeah, this was done like 3 days ago. This is like 6 hours. And like, guy must have had 20 hours worth of work in the last week and a half in tattoos.
Too much.
And
Ouch.
I was just like, dude, I'm like, we really shouldn't pierce your nipples. He's like, you don't think so? I'm like, you're trying to heal so much that you're just going to have problems with everything. He's like, oh, I don't want to do it then. And he totally understood, which generally people don't understand. So if you're watching, thank you so much for understanding. Trust me, it's the wise thing to do. But yeah, just because like, oh, I have 5 you don't have any piercings healing, but you got all those other things or an operation. You got to consider these during the healing process too.
Right.
You really do.
Yep. Your skin is like the biggest organ, right? That's what they say.
Yep.
Awesome. So a follow-up from City. They said that they're also taking out one of their nose rings. Bump on the inside and out. Can't get it to go down. Tried emu oil for weeks and hot compresses and everything. So just going to retry when it heals.
Sometimes that's the easiest route. I hate saying that one, but sometimes nostrils, I mean, when you're dealing with months and months and it's just not getting better, they typically can be healed up within a couple months. So sometimes it's just start over. It sucks.
Yeah, and I'm not sure where you were pierced, but keep into consideration jewelry style, jewelry material. Everything matters when it comes to the healing piercings. So, yeah, just, yeah, I would retire it and then try again, but maybe at a reputable shop.
For sure. For sure. From Nicola. Hi, Scott. I got my vertical labrae done on the 3rd of April, and I'm not sure when I can change out the bar because my piercer said in 2 to 3 weeks when the swelling has gone down. But I've never been told that with any other piercings I have. I have septum, nostril, lobes, doth, flat, 12 altogether. Any tips I'd really appreciate.
Well, I will say the flat almost always needs to be downsized. If you leave the longer one in the flat, the angle can change and it won't, and you're more prone to bumps. It's just bad news. The piercing you got was a what? Vertical bread.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like once you downsize, it's going to make it feel better. You're less chance of playing with it. So you definitely need to downsize as long as it's ready. I generally tell people a minimum of like 3 to 4 weeks. But you know what? It's like if you're careful about changing it out, it's a little bit safer to wait a little bit longer so you don't rip or tear that fresh tissue. That's why we don't want to change it out too soon.
Right.
If you can help it.
Because if we do change it too soon, then the chances of you swelling back up to the length that we initially started you off with are a lot higher. So, as long as you have enough room, it should be totally fine. But yeah, minimum of 3 weeks. Some people heal way faster than other people. So
Yeah. Yep. And it's kind of a catch-22 thing because it's like if you don't If you wait a little bit too long, it's going to cause problems in a bump and maybe go crooked. But if you change it too soon, it's going to cause problems.
Exactly.
And everyone heals at a
Gotta
different
find
time. So what is the right time?
Happy
And it's just like, you got to listen to your body. And if it seems right, you're probably right. But like I said, at least a couple weeks. So not all piercings need to be downsized. Like tragus piercings, conch piercings, they don't need to be downsized. They're not going to change angles unless it's getting caught and causing problems. Flat piercings, 100% need to. Oral piercings almost always need to have downsizing because you swell so much more. We need to accommodate for that. And yeah, so it's really different, but yeah, definitely downsize.
Agreed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey,
sorry, go ahead.
I was like, you go ahead. You were right down with the subject. So yeah, I was going to change subjects.
I was just going to say, I noticed that most of the piercings that you mentioned you have are non-oral piercings. And yeah, I just wanted to throw out that most oral piercings need to be downsized because they have a tendency to swell more than others.
Correct. I can't think, well, a smiley or a tongue web on the underside are the only two where it's like you don't really accommodate for extra room for swelling because you're doing rings in there. And so, but yeah.
The only issues I've ever seen with smileys is when people play with them too often. And then they have to, but even then you don't have to get a bigger ring put in realistically.
Unless you play with it enough and it swells enough.
Swell up
and
really bad.
Then just take it out.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yep. So,
all right.
Hey, I just want to say, cheers. We don't have Dutch here. You kind of changed things up on us, but Dutch is still here in spirit. So, and no matter what you guys are drinking, cheers to you, whether it's coffee, wine, beer.
No beer.
I love Kelsey's girl breakfast.
Girl breakfast.
You know what? I say beer because in some other part of the world, it's 12 hours later and it's the evening and you're sitting there with a beer drinking with us. So cheers for whatever you're drinking. That's why, yeah, I know it seems too early for a beer, but I mean, you never know where you are in the world.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
That's right.
All right, we've got a question from Elias, and forgive me if I'm butchering any names. Hi, hope all is well. I was just wondering how it is in the world of piercings back in the day versus now. Was it very experimental and F around and find out, or how was it? I'd love to hear some stories. Oh man, Scott has some insane stories.
I'm full of stories, for real. I will say right now that I do have a video that I posted a while ago, a couple years ago. I think it's like piercings past and present or something like that. But anyways, it's completely different. Now, the craziest part for me is that the general price is about the same. Back in the day, in the 90s, it was like 50 for a ring, 60 with a bar. And it's really not too much different now. Granted, yeah, we spend more money, but we're also getting a lot fancier jewelry and gems and things like that, which we didn't have that option before. So it's like, oh, you want your navel pierced? It's like, oh, you might have 4 colors to pick from in only one design. And it was bizarre. You're right. It was kind of like, see if this works. And there wasn't a lot of piercers out there. And there was a lot of threats of lawsuits. I remember hearing how piercers were getting sued. And it's like borderline practicing medicine without a license. There was no real laws or regulations. So we were completely on our own. And I think the difference nowadays is like you can look up the information fairly easy. Back in the 90s, I had to go to the library, or I actually had an arsenal of different anatomy books where I would go through and like, oh, someone wants this part of their ear, a rook. I'd never done one before. I had to look, is there anything in there I can hit? Is there nerves? Is there a big artery? What do we need to look out for? What's the best style of jewelry? Why would this be better than the other, And then how do you do it? Like that's when we had to start curving needles and trying. So yeah, it was kind of like the Wild West of piercings back in the day. And there's a lot we learned, like snake eyes, not necessarily a newer style piercing. A lot of people want it because like, oh, no one has it. It's the new thing. No, we tried it in the past and realized things did not work. So we stopped, retired it and moved on. And unfortunately, it's kind of made a comeback from it. But that's kind of what it's all about. It was really experimental and no real laws to protect anyone. And it was scary. It was scary, so I had to be very careful about it, and I've always been diligent about the paperwork and all that, proper IDs. And if I didn't know, I would even let people know, like, hey, I've never done this piercing before. I don't know I looked it up in the anatomy book and like, look, we looked together. These are the risks and concerns, and they're like, I'm down. I think we can do this. And I'm like, cool, let's give it a shot, and that's kind of where it went. It was like mutual consent for some crazy experimental, who knows? Yeah. Some things worked, some things didn't.
So I have
But that's why we are where we're at today.
Yeah.
So I actually have a question in regards to that. Do you think that spirit of experimentation is like, because I know there are a lot of piercers today that just like don't do a lot of piercings, for better or worse. Do you think it's better now, or it was better when people were more experimental, or maybe not better, but I guess kind of like how do you see it different?
It's more dangerous now.
It's more dangerous now. Okay.
It's more dangerous now because people still have that willingness to experiment and try different things.
Mm-hmm.
It's just now we have things like YouTube and the internet where you can find all this information and people are willing to do more things themselves. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, it was we used to call it exotic piercings, because it was so foreign and crazy. No one would dare do this to themselves. And nowadays, that's not the case. There's all these how-tos and show you how to do home piercings on the internet. And I think more people are messing themselves up because they're willing to experiment. And they think, oh, if I do a eyebrow, I can just do a transverse lobe. I can do my own amplang or apodravi, or I can do, And that's where we start really getting into trouble. And it's also dangerous because you're basically kind of possibility of giving yourself diseases and allergies to metals and different materials.
Right.
Because you have to use proper materials and things when you start. We have to learn aseptic technique, and we have the cross-contamination where we're not bringing bad germ. Hepatitis can live several weeks without a host. And if you're not careful and like, oh, I have hepatitis on my hands, I have a pair of gloves on. They're not magic gloves. Those gloves now have hepatitis, and you hold the needle, you just gave yourself hepatitis. That's kind of the risk and why it's more dangerous now, I think. Because of the internet and the social media. I wish I would have had it back in the day so I could have learned easier, but it forced me to go through those books and make all my contacts and call my doctor friends and nurse friends and say, hey, what do you think of this?
That's interesting. I also wonder if
what an awesome question. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I also wonder, like, with social media and especially piercing and tattooing becoming so popular, back then, maybe like if you did something crazy and took a picture and say posted it in BME or something along those lines,
Mm-hmm.
like there was a small community that was getting access to that picture or to that story. So it didn't travel as far. It probably traveled among very specifically people that were really interested in body modification, which at that time there weren't as many as there are today.
Correct.
Huh.
Shout out to Shannon Lorette, who passed away. It's been about 10 years now or something like that, but he was the founder of BME, which is body modification easing. For a lot of us, a little older school people, like that was our start. When you wanted to see something crazy, you went there. When you were looking for a story on what, who a piercer is, you could look up piercers and see people's reviews before Yelp was there. It was really, really ahead of its time and incredible. And probably one of my most proud moments as a piercer, which is kind of weird, but their website every week had a featured piercing, and one of the piercings I did made the cover for a week. And I was just like,
awesome.
It was the biggest honor I could possibly ever have. So yeah, I was. Yeah, so.
That's cool. I'm pretty sure Devin Lorette, the like famous arm wrestler, is Shannon's brother, actually.
I just watched that video the other day on Instagram. So.
Is it? Yeah, it's wild. I didn't realize that, and then a friend of mine was like, "Yeah, look at the two of them," and I looked at a picture of him and looked at a picture of Shannon. And was like, "Oh my god!"
Minus the piercing.
Yeah, right. Awesome.
Yeah, and speaking of experimental stuff, Shannon Lorette, he did so much. I mean, we started with surface bars, like the back of the neck, where he was doing staples where the bar was on the out. I think he had staples here where you could see the bar, and then they curved back in, and they were held in some. There were some really bizarre things going on, and he was really pushing the limits. So
it's true. It's true.
Yeah, I remember sitting next to his wife. At the time at a APP conference, and she had an eye implant where it was underneath the white of her eye, you could see this little gold heart. I just remember staring at it. Yeah, cute, but scary.
Oh, that's so cute. I want one.
I shouldn't have said that. Okay.
That's awesome. All right, we have some other questions. Let's see. We've got one from user likes peep. Hi, y'all. Hoping you're having a good day.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Very much.
It's a great day.
From Selena, does the industrial leave a scar if you haven't had it long? Question mark.
Sometimes yes.
Sometimes, yes. It really just depends on your anatomy. If you're fit for an industrial, chances of leaving any scarring are pretty low. But I mean, everyone is different. Everybody's bodies scar and heal differently. So, I mean, if you haven't had it for very long, I really don't see it leaving.
So, like, if we look at Kelsey's cheek, you can see like the little dimple there from her old cheek piercings. That's kind of what a piercing is going to do. Is you're going to have a little bit of a scar like that. Some people build up a lot of scar tissue and it gets twice as thick because they didn't get it pierced properly or they didn't take care of it. But in general, you're going to have a couple small little indents of where it used to be, and that's the average. Any piercing can scar more if you pick at it, play with it, don't take care of it.
Yep. I also feel like industrial piercings are prone to problems if you get them pierced incorrectly, because you're locking two parts of the ear together, and especially if they're pierced at different angles, you can get scar tissue that doesn't go away.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily happen overnight. It does take some time for it to become permanent, but be very careful about who you go to for industrial piercings.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yes. From Claire. Hi, hope you're both okay. Hi from England.
Hi, Claire from England.
From Erica. Hi. Hello. Recovering from my surgery last week, and my surgeon didn't make me take my piercings out.
Nice.
Love that.
Love that.
From Ruru. Hi. Cheers,
Rebecca, I
everyone.
want to talk about that for just 2 seconds.
Oh, yeah, please.
Now, I've always been really, really curious about this. If you're a surgeon, if you're a doctor, if you're an anesthesiologist. Now, the reason they make you take it out, to my understanding, is because if you have an allergic reaction, it can stop your heart. And if they need to use the paddles, the electricity to start your heart back up, piercings can supposedly burn a hole, or it can arc the electricity to where it doesn't go through your heart and they can't start it back up. Now, I could understand this with nipples, being it's right there, but I don't see how it could really affect for an ear piercing or otherwise. And I think people are starting to kind of experiment and let people keep these piercings in, or they just didn't know about it. So I think that's the reason why, and I don't know if it's true or an urban myth or legend. I have never seen anything in 30 years of a burn mark or heard a rumor where it really interfered with it. So if you know anything or heard anything, please let us know in the comments. It'd be really, really, really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never heard of anything. Have you?
I've never heard anything about that or why they make you take it out. The only thing that I know why they make you take jewelry out with MRIs is because the machine is magnetic and they don't want it to rip jewelry out or,
And our jewelry's non-magnetic, but
Yeah.
they don't trust you saying that it is what it is, because if it gets ripped out, they get sued. So it's understandable why they would make you take it out. But yeah, titanium body jewelry is safe to wear in there.
Yep. I think there's also a difference between like magnetic and conductive, and that really depends on, I think, the quality of the jewelry. If something's made of implant grade titanium, then it's way less likely to be conductive than some random mystery metal.
What do you mean by conductive?
Like it conducts electricity.
it
So something that's magnetic is like if you hold a magnet up to it, it will
For
be
an
pulled.
MRI or for the?
Well, I'm just saying, like if you're talking about the defibrillator.
Yes,
so-
for sure. Okay, that's why I was like the MRI. I'm like, it doesn't matter if there's no electricity. In the
Yeah,
air.
no, I was talking
Hopefully
about
it's
the-
not like you're getting charged and all. Wow, that would be crazy.
you mean you don't get electric shock during your MRIs?
Yeah,
Was that
your hair's all just standing straight out.
But yeah, from my understanding, some, like, again, depending on the metal that your jewelry is made of, it can be conductive, not
Yes.
magnetic, but conductive.
Correct. Gold is very conductive.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Awesome. From Ruru, saying hi, cheers everyone. Cheers. From Cody, a good bulk jewelry site to order from, non-APP recruitments, ? I'm in my first year. I guess they're a piercer and looking for a jewelry company to order from.
Okay.
I mean, we love Invictus.
We really do.
Yeah,
They've always held true. There's some controversy because of their mil spec sheets. I personally don't buy it. They say they're faked, and they're like, no one fakes stuff. And then on top,
we've personally never had issues in the 10 years that I have been piercing. Even at the first shop that I started at, we had both neo-metal, industrial strength, and that, like all of those things. And then Invictus sent us a little
sample pack
like a sample pack. And we were looking at it next to neo-metal, and we were like, wow, they really upped their jewelry game. You know, let's order some and see how it goes. It was compatible with neo-metal and everything. It was when neo-metal's patent ran out for the threadless stuff. And yeah, it was, we just started stocking up on them. Their turnaround time was so much quicker. The discounts that you get for the amount that you purchase
for bulk,
and on top of that, if you have any issues with the jewelry, you send it right back, and then they
take care of you.
Yeah, they take
their
really
customer
good care
service is really, really, really good. I've loved them for a long, long time, and I will continue to carry them. I carry other brands too. You know, you get some like, you know, BVLA or Body Gems or some Kiwi jewelry or whatever other brands, and it interchains with your core jewelry is what I call it.
Yep.
It's the basics that you get pierced with, and then there's always the fancy stuff you can add afterwards. But they carry a ton of gold. They carry a ton of titanium. You're going to have so many different options for navel shapes, prongs, bezels, ovals,
lengths and everything.
It's they're pretty incredible. So yeah, that's who I'd go to. I love Invictus. There's other brands out there too. Back in the day, I used to use Metal Mafia. It can work. I just think that Invictus is a more superior, better company that as far as that goes. I did have a lot of.
Isn't Invictus old Metal Mafia?
No.
Or comes from the same company or
no? I think it's Body Vibe is who the branch, and they made a better version of
That's
all
right.
titanium of Body Vibe. It wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Okay.
So.
Huh.
So that's who I use. Otherwise, People's Jewelry makes a bunch of really, really good, solid
People's
stuff.
Jewelry is awesome.
I like Juniper a lot.
Juniper makes some great stuff too. I can't believe I forgot about that. But yeah. Our go-to is Invictus, but there's a lot of great brands out there.
Majority of companies actually come from the same, I want to say, like casting company. So you look at like
you're gonna find same designs.
Yeah, the same designs and everything, like the spiders from Neo Metal, the same as Invictus, or the same as, is it Juniper or
the snake designs?
Snake designs too. Yeah,
a bunch of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really hate saying it. Most,
especially gold.
I think most companies out there are going to be stealing from each and every other company. Someone gets an idea, they take it, and it's almost like a direct knockoff. Some companies are getting really upset with this, but everyone's stealing from everybody. It's kind of the way it is.
And Invictus has the better prices.
Yeah.
Same quality.
Indeed.
Just saying.
Wanted to give a shout out. Stephanie Snow popped in over from Primitive Accents. Wanted to say
bestie.
hi.
Hey, Stephanie.
And she actually brought up a really good point when it comes to like when we were talking about the experimental stuff. And she was talking about the liability. Insurance the liability is way more dangerous. Like insurance for shops is really expensive, and we do have there is piercing insurance, and there are piercings that they won't allow us to do. Snake eyes being one of them.
Correct.
Snake eyes being one of them. Microdermal piercings are now outcasted. Even recording in the piercing room, from what I understand, is
our insurance company isn't really, so we can't have that. So it's considered to be high risk, which understandable. We're not licensed medical professionals, we're licensed body piercers, and the thing is like a lot of the stuff is like borderline questionable whether it's truly safe. It's a risk. That's why we get nervous when we do these things. For the most part it's safe, but bloodborne pathogens, it's high risk.
They're real.
Yeah, I remember when I opened my shop, trying to find insurance, going through a couple different places, and they're just like, we can't, and I found one who's like, let me keep digging. I'll find someone who can help us out, and eventually found one. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it looks like I accidentally skipped a question. Sorry, from
Nova,
Simona.
shame
I know,
on you.
Right? They asked, what is the best online industrial jewelry store? So I guess they're
industrial
asking for
bars?
They're asking for jewelry for industrials, or or industrial jewelry, meaning like bulk jewelry. I'm gonna say that they mean jewelry for industrials.
That's what I'm leaning towards too. And
I mean, you would need to know the size and the length of the jewelry that you currently have in, or what your heeled industrial is going to be. But Body Art Forms is a really good.
It's the only one I'd really suggest.
Exactly, same.
Because they tell you what you're buying.
Mm-hmm.
They tell you
what you're
this
buying.
is the brand. This is the.
They carry almost every jewelry company out there that you can, that we purchase jewelry from. But you don't have to be a piercer to buy the jewelry.
So as long as you know the gauge and the length, that helps. And then you can go on there and then you can search by quality and the brand. Don't buy the cheapest one. They sell bad stuff too.
Yep, I was just going to say, they keep in mind.
Not bad, low quality, more nickel in there, less polish,
Your best bet is always going to be to go to a high quality piercer who can fit you specifically for something that's going to work for your ear.
Bam.
And that has high quality jewelry there, so you know exactly what you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Body Art Forms does work. Again, they do have bad stuff, though, or not bad stuff, but not great stuff on there too.
Right.
So be careful about what you buy.
Still carry steel and cheaper stuff, acrylics and everything. So.
One of the biggest pet peeves I have about this industry is how people say things are garbage. I hate the word garbage now. People are like, oh, it's
trash
garbage jewelry, it's trash jewelry. You can't, and it's like, it's not garbage. It's just not as high a quality.
Not fit for everybody. Stainless steel jewelry, I wouldn't sit here and say is garbage jewelry. Some people love steel jewelry. They like the weight of it and everything, and that's the only thing that they wear, and it works for them. But if you have an allergy, titanium would be the better option.
The equivalent is like what, is a brand new Kia a piece of garbage? If you don't have a brand new Lamborghini, it's like you can't compare the two. They're different things. And that's what it is. So when people say garbage, it's like, you're just really trying to push your own brand is all you're doing.
For sure. And I think quality is a big thing, because there are different grades of steel, different grades of titanium. Because there is implant grade steel, isn't it? F138.
F130. Yes. Good call. I was gonna say 136. That's titanium.
I knew it wasn't that one.
And the thing is like, we go back to the earlier of the show. It's like back in the 90s when we were doing piercings, people weren't piercing with really titanium. It was like mostly steel, occasional niobium. No one really had gold. It was pretty unheard of for the most part. It's pretty rare. So, I mean, and we were healing things up with very questionable things back in the day.
Bioflex.
Yeah, Bioflex to externally threaded to lower end steel, not even 316. Some steel was just 316. It wasn't even L or LVM. So, and we're still here. Some things still work. So, and that's what I'm saying. It's like garbage isn't necessarily garbage, just a lot lower quality. You're more prone to have problems, but it could work.
Indeed.
Yeah, just don't suggest it.
Right. They say sometimes you can heal in spite of the things that you do and not because of. Right.
Correct.
We've got a question again. Forgive me if I butchered this name. It looks like Chalon or Chayon. Would a 10 gauge or 8 gauge conch be an unreasonable first cartilage piercing? I think it would look so good with a thick ring after it's fully healed. I love that. Honestly.
I love that idea, actually.
For a first one, it's big and bold, but I mean at the same time,
it'll be your statement piece. Your statement piercing.
If you didn't want it, it'll still close. I mean, unless you're using a biopsy punch, it will close. Go to a good piercer. That's all I got to say there, is because the quality of needles is insanely different from company to company, and good piercers will carry the good stuff. Nova and I did some experimenting this last week or two with needles, and we did push needles through leather, and we measured by weight, and you guys are going to be shocked by the results. We were. Yeah. That's all I got to say. We were shocked. I was expecting crazy results. I wasn't expecting these.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's all I'm going to, it's like a little teaser.
Well, yeah, it's funny.
I wasn't expecting those results.
That's how you guys teased me at the shop, and I was like, what? I missed it. I missed the experiment.
Super fun.
It was fun. Scott, we have a lab coat and everything.
I was going to say lab coat.
Yeah, I busted it out for a little bit.
I missed it. I'm not invited.
We have a question from iShow. Poor girl searching for a good piercer here. Especially since COVID, I can't just walk into the studios without an appointment. Do you think it's okay to just jump in and look around and feel out the atmosphere? Well, first I want to say, if you let us know where you are, maybe we can steer you somewhere. I have a vague memory of you telling us where you were, and we were like, "There's no one around you," so maybe that's why. But yeah, feel free to let us know. You can DM us on Instagram.
One of
or
our
something.
references that we use is safepiercing.org, because that way you can do APP piercer lookup. And generally, most piercers who are APP care more. So that's one of the bonuses for going for that site. It doesn't guarantee that they're a good quality piercer, but it does mean that they care, and it's a step in the right direction.
It at least means that they have like a certain threshold when it comes to jewelry and
knowledge.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to do some research on Google reviews and Yelp reviews, because people do leave those things. So, but yeah, that's kind of a rough situation. Now, one thing I will say is not every shop, I don't think every shop has to be appointment only. I think it's a choice now. I know here in Las Vegas, appointment only is because we're so busy, and it's much nicer that way. It really, really is. It's more pleasant. But if you're not a good quality shop, or you're not very well established, you're going to take more walk-ins because you take any business you can get,
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. And I will also say that just because the shop is APP doesn't mean that they're great piercers. And also on the flip side of that, just because the shop isn't APP doesn't mean that they don't carry good jewelry and are good piercers and stuff. Because we're not APP members.
You're not APP.
Yeah.
Yeah. So worth considering.
That is a good clarification. We do talk about, but we are not an APP shop. I mean, we follow most of their protocols and standards. It's just the jewelry is where we kind of get in a little discrepancy, and that's why we're
Literally
not.
The only thing that holds us back is the fact that we do carry non-APP certified jewelry, but it doesn't mean it's not good jewelry.
Yep.
Like it's, we still have their mill certs and everything, so quality is there.
Yep. And third-party mill certs.
Yes.
And you never know for the future.
It's true. From Keith McBride. Last time I was able to join a live stream, I had asked about criteria for an industrial piercing. I found a good piercer and got it done, but now have piercing bumps. Any tips on getting rid of them?
Oh.
I mean, first and foremost, when it was pierced, did the angles match? If they didn't, then that could be an issue. But if you're also sleeping on that side, that is another really big deal. And can cause the pressure bumps. Any unnecessary pressure on this piercing, it'll cause those piercing bumps. So.
And another thing to keep in mind is sometimes it's just once or twice. And what I mean by that is like, I just wore the helmet one time. One time shouldn't have affected that much. And one time can be enough to really upset it to cause those bumps to happen. So that's why you need to be diligently careful about bumping, hitting, sleeping it, hair getting caught in there, all the above. So those are kind of all factors to always keep in mind. Hopefully you're just doing the wound wash spray. You're not over cleaning it. But yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. Yeah,
I'll just say generally speaking.
Time.
So piercing bumps or irritation bumps come from irritation. So the only way to get rid of them is to remove that irritation. If the irritation comes from like an external source, then just treat it like a new piercing. Make sure you're getting all the gunk off and that sort of thing. But if it's from the jewelry or the angle of the piercing, then nothing is going to get rid of the bumps.
Right.
Cool. Good luck to you.
I actually have a question to ask you two in regards to this. And I think you told me, or one of you told me that it was possible. I don't remember who it was, but can you take an industrial piercing out, heal it with two separate pieces of jewelry, and then put the single bar back in, or is that frowned upon?
I frown upon it. What do you say?
I don't frown upon it. In some cases, it does help. So sometimes the reason why you would get the piercing bumps is because the angles are slightly off. So if you take away, because it is two piercings with one piece of jewelry in it, if you take away the one piece and you put one in each separate one, you let them heal, you can then put an industrial bar in. Once those two piercings are fully healed, chances of the bumps appearing, there is a chance, only because now you're forcing it back into that angle. But it really just depends on how off the angles are. If they're only slightly off, once you heal with the two separate barbells and then you put the one barbell in after those two piercings are fully healed, it'll be fine. I've actually helped 2 separate clients heal industrials by doing that.
I think opposite. I think the odds are more against you because if you take it out, the piercings are going to migrate and adjust to where they're comfortable, and they can completely migrate to an area where you could never possibly put it in.
Depending on the angle in which they were pierced. Yes.
But if you're sleeping on it, you're doing it because you're sleeping on it, they're going to change more.
And if they just,
And that's why you want it to heal in that position and held in that position. So it should have been pierced right in the first place.
Exactly.
If it was wrong angles, whether you put the bars in separately or you do it individual, it's still not going to work out for you.
Or might not, at least.
Yeah,
Shouldn't in general. I mean, it's just like, yeah.
It really depends on how off the angles are. If the angles don't match enough, like if they're off by like maybe like this or whichever way, and then they heal, then putting the 1 bar in, it really isn't going to throw it off that much. But let's say your industrial is pierced and one is facing this way and then the other one is facing this way. There's no chance
possible either way
that you could heal those 2 piercings and then put an industrial bar in. There's no way. So
I just know that cartilage piercings can migrate adjust.
Yes.
That's why I like it in. Okay. Shout out to all the piercers here. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Let me know in the comments. Does it have to be 1 bar or do you heal it up with 2? Or
I would prefer you to heal it up with the 1 bar. But
correct.
If you're having issues and you are developing bumps, I would like to put 2 separate pieces in, or at least a taper and the bar to see how off the angles are. If the angles are like completely off, we're taking it out and piercing it, eventually. But yeah, then healing with the 2 pieces if it's only slightly off.
Yes.
Cool.
I really
but I'm not saying pierce and then put 2 individual pieces.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying at all.
Yeah.
I'm saying it is better to heal with the single bar in, but if you're having issues healing this industrial, it just feels like it's taking too long and you have the little bumps on them, then we can try putting the 2 smaller pieces in, heal that.
Yeah, it's like a last-ditch effort kind of thing.
Exactly.
I've
That's
seen...
what I was saying.
Okay.
We got to put gloves on next time.
Right. Yeah, from my understanding, that's awesome. That'd be hilarious. You guys should do like a little,
we need like a boxing
like
ring.
a face-off. Yeah.
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Ooh, we should do that.
She's gonna beat me up.
Right. That's probably true. Awesome. Let's see. We've got a question from Natasha. How long would you advise to wait for switching to rings for a 2nd, 3rd, and 4th lobe piercings on 1 ear?
Ooh.
Lobe piercings, that's a good question.
Almost different times.
Yeah, almost different times. So actually, the further up you go on your lobes, the closer you do get to cartilage. So like your 1st lobe, 2nd lobes, by the time you get to your 3rd, that's when tissue starts to get a little bit thicker, a little more dense, and can actually take a little bit longer to heal. So like 1st and 2nd, sometimes 3rds, 6 to 8 weeks to 4 to 6 months, 3rds to 4th and 5th, depending on how high up, that tissue goes. It can take anywhere between 6 months to a year, like a helix piercing.
Yes. Especially the area where it's like the cartilage almost meets the lobe.
Right.
There's a weird in-between void area, which just kind of sucks to heal.
Yeah.
I don't understand why, but yeah, it just
about here.
Yeah, and it's different for everyone.
Starts right here. So this area here, it's hard tissue. It's so weird. It's not like fatty tissue like lobes. So yeah, I treat them like helix piercing, 4 to 6 months.
Make sure the swelling's gone completely down. You're completely done with the crusties. And then use your own judgment. Yep.
Awesome.
And if you get bumps, go back to the stud right away. It's not worth it.
Yes, agreed with that. From Nicola, Kelsey, I love your aesthetic. You look incredible.
Awesome. Thank you so
much. From Simona, 2. Wow, I don't know why I'm short-circuiting. 2:22 p.m. in Ottawa, Ontario. Cheers for looking good industrial jewelry online. Oh yeah, I got it. Okay.
What is that?
It was they were just repeating the question and saying like thank you for.
Oh yes, you're very, very welcome.
Yes. Let's see. From Alyssa. Hello, I had a question. If we wanted to take jewelry out to get anodized, is there a certain way that it can like be brought in? Like if we wanted to bring it in to get anodized, is there a certain or is there a certain way you like the jewelry to be brought in?
Yes and no.
Yes.
Okay. So the thing is when you anodize jewelry, it needs to be clean and free of oils and debris. So therefore, the water can hit it and actually change the molecular structure of the surface of the bar. So it will need to be processed and cleaned before that happens. But at Piercing Vegas, my studio here, we don't allow outside jewelry to be anodized that way because we use one universal bucket for everyone, and therefore it's only unused jewelry, so there's no cross-contamination happening. Now, there are shops out there who will use individual disposable things where they're using almost like tin foil and like little Dixie cups and things like that to help anodize it, and they throw the whole process away. We do so much anodizing, it's just not feasible for us to really do that. But if a shop does, and they said they will allow outside jewelry and they have a disposable, you could go that route. But you're going to need to leave the jewelry with them a little bit in time so they can clean it and properly process it to get proper color.
Yep. I'll also say
great question.
It is a good question. Also, some shops I know that do process jewelry, they do charge for it.
Yes.
And typically it can be, if it's something basic, it can be, the processing fee can be about the same price. It's just getting something new. But yeah, once it's been worn, we won't re-anodize anything.
Yes.
From Le Justicier.
Oh, bonjour.
Hello. Forgive that. I've heard that the angel fangs have a high risk of migration and that their lifespan is about 5 years and they have a high chance of scarring. Is that true?
I'm going to say a lifespan of 5 years. They're not old enough to really establish that, I don't think.
I mean, they have technically been around for a pretty long time.
But for a lot of people to wear them and to get real numbers.
Right. The popularity of them now it's a little new as far as having a lifespan goes. I don't see why they would have such a short lifespan, like the same as like a surface piercing or a microdermal.
It's not going to be much different than a vertical labret in the center or a gestrum. If you don't have the ridge, they have the chance of rejecting out. But once it's established, it should be good.
Yeah.
But with any piercing on the body, if you get hit or it gets irritated hard enough,
caught on something,
the body's just going to say nope, and it's just going to start that swelling and might cause that rejection to happen really, really quick. But if you have the ridge, it should last a long time. If you don't have the ridge, it's definitely not going to start growing out after 5 years. It's going to come out way before that. 5 years.
I don't see that as a possibility, or I mean, anything is a possibility in the piercing world. When it comes to rejecting piercings, of course, it depends on the person's anatomy, how well they care for it, what kind of jewelry they have it, etc. But with this type of a lip piercing, I really don't see it having much of a lifespan. Like some piercings that we have issues.
Forever.
Yeah, it should work for pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
My theory is that because of the popularity of angel fangs, a lot of piercers that maybe aren't good have been getting asked to do them, and they're migrating out because they're not done too shallow.
Ooh, that's a really good.
Along those lines.
Yep.
That's a really good analogy. Was that an analogy?
No.
Observation.
Yeah.
Observation.
I knew what you meant.
Analogy, though.
No, that was literal. But yeah, so I think that maybe the reason people are seeing a lot of migration or rejection from angel fangs is, again, just their popularity, and that, you know, a lot of piercers aren't up to par to be able to do them. And
yeah.
I'm not not trying to talk crap, because I've never done them, and
they're rare. It's a new thing where it's a more popular one. And yeah, all I know is back in the day in the 90s, when I wanted something extreme, I only went to the people who did the extreme stuff. You don't go to anyone because it's going to get messed up.
Right.
But now it's so popular, they assume that everyone just knows how to do them. And we know how to do piercings. It's just when it's that first run, it's...
Yep.
And there's a lot of piercers out there, or even tattoo artists who think they're piercers, who will literally pierce anything because they're like, piercings, just
easy.
Yep.
Easy. bread and butter.
We should start being like tattooing. It's just tracing.
Yeah, because we could. It's just tracing.
Tracers.
It's just scratching some
We are
shading.
starting a war on this channel.
Yeah. No, I don't actually believe that for what it's worth. But
What was that movie where they kept saying tracers? Was that like mall rats or something like that?
Ooh, I don't know.
I don't
If
know.
you guys know, let us know in the comments. There was something about where everyone like, you're just a tracer. It's like mall rats. I remember it was Jason Lee, who I think.
Okay.
Let us know.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, but it's like tattoo artists
Chasing
like,
Amy?
It was
Amy.
Chasing Amy, wasn't it? Yeah, that's the Kevin Smith movie, and I think it was Jason Lee in there. So yeah,
Sweet.
that was a great movie. That was a great movie.
From Tina C. Speaking of navel piercings, how do I know if it's time to retire mine? I got it done in January of this year, and it's been a booger to heal. It does not hurt and isn't rejecting.
It's been a booger to heal. So, I mean, you have a lot of crusties.
And you said it's only been about a year?
Yes.
Okay, so navel piercings tend to have like a weird healing process. Mine, for example, took about 1.5 years to heal fully. So you could just be at the end of your healing process. If it doesn't really have much swelling, crustiness, irritation, or soreness, then you're probably on the last leg of that healing process. So yeah.
Pants.
That
If
too.
you're wearing high-waisted pants, that's a big thing. If you're a tummy sleeper, that's a thing. So I, for example, do always wear high-waisted stuff. I do sleep on my tummy. So yes, mine definitely took a lot longer to heal than your average navel piercing.
Yep. So a lot of it's lifestyle, you know, it's if you're leaning against counters and it's hitting things, pants rubbing up against it. If you have a kid and you're holding the kid and the kid's now kicking it, you know, they're all little factors. You just got to kind of weigh that out.
Kid belts.
Yeah.
You know, my daughter is a belt. She's a sloth.
She just hangs on.
Yes, all the time.
Love that.
Hey, everyone, cheers. You know, everyone's drinking something.
Cheers.
Love you all. Thanks for subscribing and hitting that like button. Intent.
Yeah, don't forget to do that.
Wink, wink, wink. Let's see, from Sammy. How long should I wait to get my eyebrow pierced? With my snake bites only being 3 weeks old, I don't want to get too much done too soon and risk trying to heal too much at once.
I think you're still okay with that. Snake bites are generally faster healers. It's not in the longer category. And you're still within that range of like, you can still heal that many piercings without causing problems.
3 to 5 piercings at once. I mean, the less the better. Give them some time to heal. But I mean, you're 3 weeks into healing, so 3 to 6 weeks usually what I tell people. Come in for your next set of piercings.
Yeah. So and like a little 2 cents for you. To my understanding, females can take 60 milligrams of oh, my mind just went blank. Why did it just leave me? It's a vitamin. Zinc. That's the word. Zinc. Yes. Women can take 60 milligrams of zinc a day, and men can take 120 milligrams, I believe. And that's what the body can take. And that's like steroids for your immune system. So if you want to start healing things up a little bit quicker, even if you have 1 or 2 and you're like, I just don't want to have problems, multivitamins that have that zinc in there will boost your immune system to heal things up quicker. So the healthier you are, the faster you're going to heal. But if you want that little
boost, little kick in the
that's
can.
what you want to look at, yeah. The little boost, zinc boost.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I couldn't believe that zinc. I was like, it was on the tip of my tongue, and I like started speaking. I'm like, it's gone.
Zinc's awesome.
Yeah, zinc.
Let's from Chip Douglas.
What's up, Chip? How you doing, buddy?
I love that name. I feel like he sounds like somebody from like a 1930s like detective movie. Like, oh, that's Chip Douglas.
Chip Douglas.
Chip Douglas runs
Chip
around
actually
the corner.
came up to Piercing Vegas, and I pierced him. God, I don't even know how long ago it was now. Was it 6 months?
That's right.
I don't think it's been a year, but yeah, Chip's super
rule,
rad
dude.
guy. Yeah, we love.
Yeah.
I think he's from Texas. If I remember. I hope so. Anyways,
That's
what's
awesome.
up, Chip?
I love your name, man. Hey y'all, I was just wondering if getting a bridge piercing can cause a black eye. I'm just curious because I got a pretty gnarly black eye when I got my eyebrows pierced. Thanks in advance.
Yes.
Yes, it can.
It can. Absolutely. Anything near this general area can cause a black eye.
I looked like I got in a bar fight after I got my bridge. It looked like I just got punched straight in the face. Like
Happen.
I have black eye on both sides.
I just had this wicked evil thought in my head. It was just like, well, hopefully the piercer didn't set it for you. Because you know when you get tattoos and like, oh, has it been set yet? And I just slap it and that stuff hurts so bad. And I was just like, piercers don't do that, buddy. You know, you get a bridge piercing. Has it been set yet? Bam! You know, is it normal to have a black eye? Yeah, after that piercer punched you in the face.
After that setting, yes.
That's awesome. I feel like that's something we should start just so like I can slap clients in the head. Like, only the bad ones though.
People
It's like
stop
we
making
have
appointments that are shot.
Right.
we have to
The
set it.
piercing's smooth,
Hey,
but
we're
the
getting really
smack
slow.
afterwards
Yeah,
is-
everybody watched last week's podcast.
It's like you pierce a navel and I just slap you across the face.
Pink belly.
All right. Yeah, no
just
no
want to
setting.
declare that we don't do that.
We do not hit our clients.
Not yet.
Hard.
I got one heck of a crew here.
Yeah, indeed. From Pirelli. A bit late, but I made it. Good
Welcome
to see
in.
you. Coming in May 1st to see Kelsey to have her check on with the double helix she did, and then hopefully replace my jewelry. Gonna anodize the new jewelry. Awesome.
Yes.
Love it.
Yes.
Kelsey does. I feel like Kelsey does some magic with the anodizer because she got this gold color. That what is it? 62.5.
62.5 is the perfect rose gold.
Yeah, it looks so good. It doesn't look like pure rose gold to me. It looks.
It looks like
more
a cross
yellowish.
between yellow and rose, but it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's what I've anodized all my stuff to. All my rings that are in my ears, these are all anodized. They're not real gold.
I do want to say this right now, though. The thing is when you look at an anodizing chart, they have general numbers for what things are at.
True.
Now, the pH or the balance of whatever whatever you put in there in the water to cause the irritant, you know, I think we use TSP, trisodium phosphate.
TSP, yep.
The different mixtures can affect that. I know we use a niobium anodizing wand,
Yep.
which can be a factor. I know sometimes we use a larger bucket, maybe a smaller bucket could be a factor, but I think the different mixtures can change. So when you hear us say this perfect 62.5, try it out, piercers, but keep in mind it might need to be a hair above or a hair below because
Some people like this 66.6, the devil's gold. That's like
Yep.
pure yellow gold, but it's
No,
just
that's
too.
that's
it's
rose
too
gold.
yellow. It's too yellow to me.
No, it's too coppery.
Or yeah, too coppery yellow. It's like a
It
coppery
looks
yellow
straight
color.
copper to
I don't
me.
like it.
I do. That's my favorite rose gold.
62.5 is my favorite.
Devil's gold.
That's what Coyote likes
Devil's
to do.
gold.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird because like anodizing gold is difficult. If you do a ring, like a captive bead ring, not a clicker that's out of niobium, niobium holds the color better than the titanium. That's why it's nice doing rings in niobium if you can, because the color for the anodizing
Yep.
is way more vibrant.
It's way more vibrant. Get the perfect rose gold out of those.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Too soft to put
Good
threads
stuff.
in there, so you can't make barbells. So it's only
Yeah.
captive bead rings.
Let's see. We've got a question from Ryan. Hey guys. So
Hi,
my,
Ryan.
my septum piercing is a couple weeks old, and I'm having no pain at all right now. It just stinks, but it doesn't hurt at all. It's maybe 3 or 4 weeks old. So when should I stop aftercare again? Because it's not hurting. It just stinks. I'm not planning on changing jewelry. I like the one they have in. But yeah, still, when is it safe to stop aftercare? So it's probably not the aftercare that's making it not smell good.
It depends on what you're using for after.
That's a
Yeah.
good point.
So the septum stink is one of those stinks. That's a stinky stink.
Smelly smell.
It's a smelly smell.
Bad feet is the nicest way to say
Yeah, it smells like stinky feet, kinda, in a way.
it. Anyways,
But yeah, I think it has something to do with jewelry and the way that your body is reacting to the jewelry. You may not be having an allergic reaction to it, but because it is a more mucousy and wet area, just that initial bodily function,
oils, bodily fluids,
everything, bodily
kind of
fluids.
absorb into that metal.
Right, absorbs into the metal, makes it stinky. The only time I ever experienced the septum stink was when I was wearing steel or plated jewelry. It was worse with plated jewelry or like the painted, like the black coated jewelry. Terrible.
It can
So
happen
smelly.
with anyone.
Yeah, it can
It
happen
can
with
happen
anyone.
with any
It
jewelry.
can happen with any jewelry. Sometimes even just wearing titanium, and I only have solid 14 karat in mine. But occasionally, something that will help just kind of clean your jewelry is one of your old toothbrushes, or you can get a toothbrush, a soft bristle brush, and just kind of clean the jewelry really good when you shower or wash your face. That helps really well because, again, the bodily fluids, the oils, everything.
Yep.
So.
Yep. But the thing is you're only 3 weeks in, so if you're done with crusties and that doesn't really happen, you probably don't need to clean it as much anymore. Your body's probably already done.
Right.
So if you have crusties, definitely clean it again. I would give it another week or two, but after that, you might be able to use like a natural oil, like vegetable oil, olive oil, and kind of rub that into the metal, and that will help get rid of that funky smell. It kind of adds a layer over the top. But I want you to be healed up enough, fully healed to where we're not introducing new things and causing problems. But you could be healed up as soon as that, because if it was pierced properly, septum's paper thin and a quick healer.
Yeah.
Yep.
3 to 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, super quick.
And in general, no one else can smell it. It's only you.
It's
Unless
true.
you're really making out with someone and they're up in
Like, your septum smells. Why does your nose smell funny?
weird.
Yeah, also just want to throw out there, they mentioned like when is it safe to stop aftercare? If you think your aftercare is causing the stink, you should stop now. And the only thing you should be using for aftercare is hot water in the shower and sterile saline.
Yeah.
So nothing else too
If you're
crazy.
using antibacterials and stuff, sometimes the antibacterial can like strip it temporarily, but then it comes right back and then it's smelly. So
Yeah.
But generally keep it clean. And but yeah, septum funk, I occasionally get nostril funk too. Just make sure to keep it clean, and if you notice
does
the
happen.
smell. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see.
All right. We're talking a lot today.
Yeah,
probably
we
not
are.
blasting through the questions very fast.
whoops.
That's okay. We just hit an hour, so we've still got some time.
Well, she has her first appointment here at what time?
1:30.
1:30.
At 1:30,
Gotta
yep,
be done
so-
by 1. So.
Yep. So we got about 50 minutes.
All right.
From Le Justicier. I don't know how to say it like not French. Le Justicier. Can the venom damage your gums or teeth, or is it a pretty safe one?
Medium.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty safe one. It depends on the angles of the piercings as well.
Can you let
as
us know
the
what a
length.
venom piercing is?
So venom piercings are the double tongue piercing, so one on each side. I like to angle them
Vertical.
a little bit. Yeah, the vertical.
Not one
Yeah.
side, like
Yeah.
bead on each side. It's
Yeah.
2 vertical piercings.
I do like to angle them a little bit outward like this, so that the 2 beads on the bottom meet up in the middle. Just a lot more comfortable. It won't rub up underneath, in between. I don't know what part of that body is, but right underneath.
That's bottom palate of your
The
mouth.
bottom palate. Yeah, exactly.
That sounds
Yeah.
good to me.
The palate, not the roof of your mouth, the floor of your mouth, I guess.
The bowl of the bottom of your jaw.
Yeah,
There you go.
the floor of the mouth. So, yeah, I mean, and keeping up with any oral piercing, you do have to keep up with the length of the jewelry. So downsize. So important, especially with tongue piercings.
That
So-
one does take longer to heal before you can downsize, though.
Yeah.
Instead of a normal tongue piercing where you're going through the connective tissue, you're going through muscle tissue. So generally, it's instead of like being able to downsize in 2 weeks, sometimes it's 3 weeks.
4
4
to
weeks,
6
5,
weeks.
yeah.
I usually tell people about around the 4-week mark is when I'm going to want you to come in for just like a checkup so I can see how we're doing on length, see if we can
Yeah.
downsize. If not, then we'll go another 2 weeks to hit the 6-week mark. But yeah, generally speaking, as far as just downsizing the jewelry, I would consider these a safe piercing to get. Your anatomy is another thing. The big veins that run down the bottom of them, that's also another reason why I kind of angle them in, is because those generally run
Yeah.
around like
I
the
go on
side.
the inside of those veins.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Whoa, you got 2 tongues.
Surprise.
So another thing too to keep in mind is there are piercers out there who will do the venom piercing so far,
Out? No.
and that's not a proper venom piercing. That's going to mess up your gums and your teeth really,
Right.
really bad.
I can only
it
imagine.
needs to be in far enough to where it's away from your gums and teeth. If you find that piercer that does it way on the outskirts, yeah, you can have problems. But proper placement, you shouldn't have problems.
Ooh, I can only imagine those catching on the teeth every time you talk or eat.
I saw someone one time who used a home self-piercing gun thing, and they got the side of the tongue, and they even had the butterfly back in the bottom. Oh, it looked so
Oh.
painful.
Brutal.
No.
Yeah, for real.
Brutal.
South my own.
That's a rough time.
Man, I've
see.
seen some things.
Oh, yeah, one of these days we'll have to do a live stream that's just Scott telling stories, no questions.
Tell me a story about this. Okay.
You've got some good ones. From Bodhisattva 3. Hello, Scott. Looking for something a bit different here. What are your thoughts on the Madison piercing or vampire bites?
Madison piercing. That's something you just don't hear very often.
Yeah.
I absolutely love Madison piercings. Do they heal? Not really.
Here, I'll pull.
You can see
I'll pull one up.
I have scars up and down my throat from the bunch of Madison piercings I've had. I've had curved barbells. I've had large gauge ones, small gauge ones, surface bars, large captive bead rings. I've done so many. That's me. That's me with a smaller captive bead ring. I tried that back in, got that done at the Gauntlet. That's actually my neck right there with no beard. Yeah.
Whoa.
So yeah, that's
You have
me.
a butt chin?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I've tried a bunch of times, so yeah. Yeah, I love Madison piercings. They don't heal very well at all. They really, really don't. That piercing there is pretty fresh. It's probably like an hour old and immediately gets that red, and it got way bigger welts. I bruised gnarly. There was yellow all along you can almost see it a little bit.
Around the neck.
Yep. So yeah. Madison piercings, it's not going to heal. If it does, you got to get it with a surface bar. You need someone who knows what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I had one.
I love this one up in the corner.
Perfect.
Just by a thread.
By a thread.
Oh.
No.
Brutal.
I saw Space Case the Piercer. He posts a bunch of fun memes and different videos, and last week or whatever, I saw one with just like with a surface piercing, you could probably just pick it up and lift it through. And he's like, but it's my favorite piercing. Is there anything you can do to save it? Like,
is there anything we can do?
You just kind of wipe it off. It's like it's gone. Yeah.
It's like, dude, a small breeze is gonna
knock it off.
That thing flying. Yeah. And vampire bites.
Vampire bites. Okay, so vampire bites are traditionally done on the side of the neck. And a lot of times back in the day, I used to pierce vampire bites with a straight barbell because I didn't want it to heal. I wanted to have some nice big scars on the side. And when things got irritated enough, then we took it out, and hopefully you have enough scars. But people are now piercing with red. Yeah.
So it looks like a lot of people are calling these vampire bites now, which are
they're not.
No,
like
no,
this
they're
one.
not. Yeah.
But yeah, I see this one here.
Yep.
That's a surface bar in the back where the vampire would bite you on the neck. So that's the whole idea behind it. Kind of tough to heal. Real tough to heal, actually, to be honest with you. But you have to have a surface bar. Otherwise, if, like I said, I did a straight barbell. You can use a curved barbell that'll even cause it to reject out. So
cool.
Yeah. Look at those vertical vermilions in the upper left hand. You know? No, next one's over there. Like inverse vertical labrettes. Yeah. Crazy.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a high rejection rate.
Nice.
And most piercers would be like, I won't do that for you.
Not
Reject
touching it.
Yeah, most piercers for sure.
They will reject out.
Lexi Ethington asked, I've had double helix piercings for 1.5 years, but a few days before I planned to swap the top one, I got it caught on a comb and pissed it off. How long would you wait to swap it?
Murphy's Law is the way it
Until it heals.
Yeah.
Oops.
The arm of my hair just arm of my hair.
Arm of the chair fell off.
The arm of the
Is that
chair.
what it was? I thought it was
It
a phone.
scared me.
I just heard a thud.
How do I fix it?
That'll be all
It
right.
slides in there, so yeah. Don't fall off the chair. Yeah.
Awesome. But yeah, generally
Look at me.
speaking, I would
Jack
just
of all
treat,
trades.
I would just treat it like a regular piercing, wait till it calms down, wait till swelling goes down and there's no crusties, give it a little bit of time after that.
Maybe emu oil. Yeah, just be patient. And if you overswell, you might need to put a longer post back in there.
Absolutely. Let's see, from Nicola, any profession or any jewelry that is in the UK that you can recommend that's titanium. So glad I found your channel. I get to ask the burning question in my head. What is the best jewelry material in your professional opinion? So I think that's 2 questions. I think one, looking for jewelry in the UK. If you let us know where, like I say, we can either steer you in the right direction, or you're welcome to go to safepiercing.org. I personally don't know anyone. I don't think, maybe 1 or 2 people in the UK. But
yeah,
I'm not sure where.
Sure.
Yeah, not right off the top of my head.
But the best jewelry material.
Titanium.
Yep.
Titanium.
Specifically
right now,
implant grade.
ASTM F136 titanium. It seems to be the best. There's other versions of titanium which might be better. Like there's a newer one which is niobium based instead of aluminum based. Being more safer for the body, I guess. But there's such a small amount of aluminum. I'm not even sure why do they put the aluminum in the titanium. Do you know?
I don't know.
They put a little vanadium and a little tiny bit of aluminum, but it's such a small amount. It's probably something to do for the binding or the
Could be.
But there's implant grade pure titanium, but the one we use is the ASTM F136. And I know there's 140. I don't remember the other one, but anyways,
G8 or something.
Yeah. G8 is another one, but that's more European, but it's not accepted by American standards.
Yep.
It gets so confusing. But the reason I like titanium is, number one, you can anodize it, which makes it a little bit more smooth on the surface. Number two, it's lightweight. I have been pierced with solid 14 karat gold, and the weight caused problems during the healing process. Change the titanium, it went back to normal. And then once I healed up, I was able to change back to the gold. The amount of allergies is extremely, extremely, extremely low. I can't say extremely enough to how low it actually is. Very few people have problems with titanium.
Mm-hmm.
And
the only time I've ever had someone come in thinking that it was a minor's lobe piercings. I think the girl was 7 or 8. And this had to have been like maybe 5-6 years ago. And her mom swore that she was not rotating the jewelry or using anything weird on them. But when they showed up, she had ointment all over her ears, like an antibiotic ointment. And and she was like, I swear she's having a reaction, like an allergic reaction to the jewelry. The doctor says that they're infected. And I'm like, well, what are we doing as far as aftercare goes? That's the one time that someone swore that they genuinely feel it was with how mom was trying to help her take care of the piercings. Because she was one of those parents that swore by the whole rotating and spinning. And we have to rotate them, otherwise they'll fuse to the tissue and whatever else. And
old ways,
they need to die real hard.
It's true.
So,
yep.
Yeah.
It's true, but unless you're specifically allergic to titanium, which I don't even know if that's possible.
It is.
It is possible.
It is. I've seen it one time.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably back in the early 2000s, and this client came in, and they're like, "Well, I want to get pierced." I'm like, "Well, we have titanium here," and I was like, "I'm allergic to titanium," and I was like, "No." Actually, no one's really allergic to the titanium. That's why we use it. Because my doctor said the same thing. And when I had the implant, I had an allergic reaction to the titanium post or whatever that was in my body. And we did allergy tests and found out that I'm actually allergic to titanium. And that's the only time I've ever been, I can say that
So
it was verified that
through a
they
doctor,
were allergic to it. But you're right. Most of the time it's going to be aftercare, some sort of irritation, sleeping on it.
Yep.
So it's possible.
It is
but
possible.
pretty darn rare.
Super rare.
Truly.
It's like unicorn rare.
Yeah.
They're there, but you don't see them.
Not that often. Let's see. We've got Ursula's odds and sods back in
Ursula.
action.
Hey.
Taping was just what I needed to finally get to 9/16. My right ear was ready about.
Congratulations.
My right ear was ready about 8 days before the left. I've been at the size for a few weeks. Next goal is 5/8, though I'd love to get to an inch.
Yes.
You'll get there. You'll get there.
You'll reach
Yeah,
your goals.
God, that taping method really does work.
It works so well.
It's kind of a pain in the butt to do. It's like I have to do another run. But at the same time, you're seeing progress every time you get an extra wrap.
Yep.
And that's exciting.
It
It's
is.
like I'm getting closer. It's like you can feel and see the progress.
Exactly.
So good for you. We're
Good
happy
job.
for you.
Absolutely. Let's keep it going. I'm going to try and speed us up a little because we do have a lot of questions to get through. We still got a little bit of time left, but about 40 minutes.
Not the way we talk.
Yeah, right.
Our ADDs. This is
From George Zayakis. Let's see. Hello.
George.
I'm thinking about doing a nostril piercing. Can you tell me about the healing time that it takes to change to a hoop and things that I could avoid to heal more quickly?
Don't catch it on the rags, loofahs, towels. They get caught on there, yanked on there, and that's several steps backwards. A lot of times, if you take care of it really good, it's going to seem healed in a month to maybe 2 months, but you're not ready for the hoop. I tell people a minimum of 4 months. Sometimes it's even 6 months or longer before you can actually put the hoop in there. So you need the cartilage to the swelling to go down, completely down with crusties, and your jewelry almost needs to be loose before you put the hoop in without causing the bump.
Exactly.
Yep.
And just tossing it out there, a lot of people are in a rush to get to the ring, but if you switch to a ring too early, it can actually make it
super detrimental to your piercing.
Yeah,
Patience.
you can end up having to put a straight piece back in and having it be a year or longer before you can put a ring in.
Exactly.
So don't rush it.
It is worth the wait.
Indeed.
And the thing people don't understand too is like if you put the ring in too soon, you get too big of a bump. It's almost impossible to get rid of a huge giant bump. And then after a while, it's like you just have to lose the piercing and start over.
Yes.
So not only is it, you're not getting the hoop in there, but you have to wait another 4 to 6 months after that in order
to get re-pierced, to then get pierced
Yeah.
with a stud all over again. So again, worth it to wait.
Yes.
Play the game properly. It's worth it.
Indeed.
We're on your side.
Yes.
We are.
That's the part. It's like everyone's like, oh, my parents are trying to be mean. They don't want me to. No,
Yeah.
we want you to have it. We just don't want you to have problems. Why don't we want you to have problems with it? Because we have to try to solve these problems and figure out why you're having them. And
My favorite is when clients come in, they're like, well, I had it pierced with a hoop before. My other piercer recommended starting with a hoop before a stud and whatever else. I'm like, oh, that was probably an old school piercer, but
hoops are easier to get in.
hoops are easier to get in for most people, but yeah, no.
Also, I noticed that you don't have it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're coming back to get your nostril
that's a
re-pierced.
great point, Nova. That's so funny. No, yeah.
No, I mean, again, like we had talked about, you can't, people have healed nostril piercings with rings, but
Absolutely.
But sometimes
You do have to start. Yep.
Yeah, sometimes you heal in spite of what you do, as opposed to because of what you do.
Exactly. And you probably healed with something that had some room on it. Majority of cases, or majority of the time, people want to start off with the nice little cute snug ring that has no room for swelling. But if we're piercing you with a ring, or if you are pierced with a ring, which I have in the past, I'm using minimum 5/16 to a 3/8, 5/16 with a big bead in it, and we have to roll it on the inside to hide the bead, but it gives you enough room for swelling. I have had clients successfully heal nose piercings with rings. But it takes a really long time. But I have also had people not heal. Majority of people do not heal with a ring, only because you are pierced at a straight angle. You want to heal with a straight angle, and then you can put something nice and curved in it. But yeah.
Something else to keep in mind is when you put a ring in there, the inside of your nostril is a mucous membrane, which keeps it lubricated. The snot is a lubricant, and you're going to be able to spin and rotate the jewelry.
And we don't want you to do that.
We don't, because you're going to have a lot of crusties, and when those crusties get pulled through, you might as well be pulling a file, and you're scratching the inside of your tissue each time it moves. That's why healing with the ring is much, much longer and more difficult. Once it gets irritated enough from all those crusties, you now have bumps to deal with on the inside of your nose and the outside of your nose. You don't believe you have them on the inside as well? Go ahead and look. You probably do if you're trying to heal it up with the ring. So
It's true.
People can heal it, but also keep in mind, way back in the day, way back in the day of the caveman, they were probably piercing their septums with just some sort of bone or a stick.
Yeah,
we're
thorns.
still here. We're not extinct, but odds are in your favor to get it done the clean, the better way. But you can heal things. Doesn't mean you should.
Agreed.
100%.
I love this question that's coming up from Alejandro. How do I know if a bridge piercing will look good on me? I'm on the fence and I feel like I might end up looking dumb and taking it out, but I'm not sure. So I am very pro bridge piercing.
Me too.
I got mine done in this past winter, and I was also kind of on the fence about it, but I figured the person who pierced my bridge let me do her bridge as my first bridge during her apprenticeship. So I was like, I got to return the favor, right? And she's actually a piercer now, and has done many bridges, but she did mine, and I fell in love with it immediately. I was like, this piercing always should have been here. And ultimately, I say risk it. If you don't like it, you can take it out, and you might have a little scar there, but
if you don't want to risk the scars, you could always go to a hobby store and get some little beads or something, and some eyelash glue.
Yeah, try it.
Eyelash glue is safe to put on your face without having any sort of reaction or pulling skin off. When you pull the glue off, it literally comes off with water. So as far as that goes, a little bit of lash glue, and you just dop it on there. See
Put
if
it
you
in
like
the
it.
right spot.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Don't go too high up or too far low. It has to be realistic. You have to have enough skin to pierce. So that's where you need to put it. And now, once you said it, like, I don't want to look dumb with a bridge piercing. I don't think anyone ever looks dumb with a bridge piercing unless it's extremely crooked and at a weird angle and it looks like it's a home job. Then it's just like, doesn't look good. But when they're nice and straight and set in there, I think it looks very, very natural.
Yep.
So as long as it's done properly, I think it will look good. Now, here's my other 2 cents. Some people have had their nose broke or have a really, really crooked nose. Then it might accentuate how crooked your nose is depending if you have that curved nose, and that's something to think about. But otherwise, if it's done properly, I think it would look good.
I love Kelsey's idea.
Yeah, glue some dots on there.
Yeah,
Glue some beads.
absolutely. I've seen a lot of like the fake piercings pop up, and Scott, I think you and I talked about that, or maybe it was you and me, Kelsey. I'm not sure, but I'm actually pro fake piercings. I think
Absolutely.
I think
Just
that,
to test the waters.
to
Mine
test
are
the
all glued
waters.
in.
Tip your toe in.
Yeah, and I especially think that it's good for younger people, for minors, because we often get calls.
She started.
Yeah, she did.
We're keeping that in.
We get calls from people that like want us to do septum piercings on their 12-year-old daughters, and that's just like insane. That's insane to me. I think that is a perfect place for people to experiment with like fake piercings to see how they look. But again, just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
You know, it's really bizarre how we have an age limit on piercings. And I understand why we do, but at the same time, it's weird because like when you're young, you're trying to discover yourself. And understandable. You don't want to fill your face full of scars trying to discover yourself to realize, I guess piercing wasn't me, and now you got to live your life with all these scars. But I don't know where I was just going with this. It's weird to
It's weird to put a limit on, especially coming from my background. My aunt came home when I think I was like,
where do you draw the line?
5 or 6 or something. She came home to my grandma's house, and she had her tongue pierced, and that's what started all of this for me. I saw that, and I was just in love. I wanted my tongue pierced so bad. I asked my mom every Christmas, every birthday, every whatever. The tongue piercing was one that I did have to wait until I could legally do it by myself. So I did have to wait until I was 18. I did it Valentine's Day, the Valentine's Day after my birthday. And, and getting my nose pierced. I pierced my nose by myself. I do not recommend.
No, we don't. Not
at all. When I think I was 12 or 13. Yeah.
But I guess that's the thing too, is like there's there's different levels of responsibility. And I imagine there might be some 12-year-old kids who are probably responsible enough to take care of it. But again, it's a majority of them are not.
No.
It's kind of like the metals. It's like, you can pierce with a crappy metal and you could heal it, but odds aren't in your favor. So that's why we have these minimum standards, and it's just the way society's set up. It's bizarre how that works. So I encourage minors to get pierced, but wait till the proper age or legal age so you can prove responsibility and show that you are ready for those piercings.
I would start with ear stuff, ear projects. It's a really good way to start and get into piercings. Lobes are just really easy to care for. It's a good start. As far as facial piercings, it is just because I think it's because it can be kind of distracting for school. I know some schools are against piercings.
I mean, that's why schools have dress codes.
Yes, exactly.
Like uniforms and stuff.
And the septum is really easy to hide.
Correct.
If you do get it, maybe start with the septum. It is really easy to heal, and it is one where even if you don't like it and you take it out, the scars aren't visible. You're able to hide the jewelry. You just tuck it right up and in. Nobody would even know that you have it. So, yeah. I mean, I'm being a bad influence right now, aren't I? Am I going against what we're talking about right now? I don't even know where I'm going with
if
this.
you're 12, pierce your septum.
If you're 12, get your septum.
No, don't do that.
Start with your ears. I would say start with your ears. Ear projects. Those are fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Prove that you can care for a piercing through ear piercings. and then go with your septum.
No, I think
I got a
that's
weird question for you.
Yes.
Do you remember what the original question was?
I
think we went off on such a tangent.
So I asked a follow-up question. They were talking about how the person asked about the bridge piercing, and then we talked about like the fake piercings, and I was kind of talking about how
okay.
we did get off there.
I have a question for everybody. How many friends with ADD in one room does it take to do a podcast?
Or scream? Yeah. More than 3, apparently.
More than 3.
So a follow-up from iShow. It looks like they're in Belgium. So I did a quick search here on the safe piercing, and I'm not exactly sure where in Belgium you are, but it looks like there are quite a few. I know Belgium isn't terribly big, so I don't know how far away they might be, but I would suggest going to the piercing, safepiercing.org, and going to find a piercer. And you should be able to find someone. They might be able to ship you jewelry even if you're farther away.
Cool.
Heck yeah.
Good job, Nova.
Good job, Nova.
Of course.
Air 5.
Woo! This is a cool question from Elias. Which piercing which piercing do people have the most issues with when healing them throughout the years?
Ooh, belly buttons and nostrils.
But
industrials.
You also got to keep in mind, what do we do the most of?
Nostrils, navels.
Nostrils and navels, so they're the most prone to problems. But in general,
we do majority ear stuff, I want to say, but I mean, body piercings, the nose, still one of the most popular. The navel comes and goes in waves, but the nostril never dies.
It's true. Nostril never dies.
Nostril never dies. It's going to be a new hair song.
Yeah, dude, I'm ready. I'll write it. As common as the nostril piercing is, it's actually not as easy to heal as a lot of people think.
No. Some people are like, oh, my other piercer told me like 3 weeks and I can switch it to a hoop. Absolutely not. The nostril will take no matter who you are, up to 6 months to fully heal. Yep. And that really depends on the person. Majority of people, it takes about 6 months to a year to heal. But there are the very lucky few, it takes about 4 to 6 months to heal fully. And then they can switch it to a hoop. But those are probably people that sleep like this.
Okay. Something also to be said
have excellent skincare.
Yeah. To be fully healed, just because you're done with crusties after like 3 or 4 weeks doesn't mean it's fully healed. And that's what we're talking about. Like, oh, mine was healed in 3 weeks. I'm like, no, it wasn't. You seemed healed and you're doing good, but it's not fully healed. It's impossible.
Impossible.
Yep. I was always taught that things healed from the outside or from the inside out. So even after like you don't have crusties or irritation, the fistula still is in a weakened state. It's not like fully formed yet. Or if it is fully formed, it's not like fully set yet.
Yes.
It's like the cement hasn't dried, I guess would be an analogy.
Well, it just needs to get thicker. It's like you develop that tube of scar tissue, and at first it's a really, really thin tube, and it's easily ripped and torn. And as the months go on, it gets thicker and thicker to the point where it's strong enough to where it's like, okay, we're established. Let's go.
Awesome.
Let's go.
From Love for Ara. Hi, Piercer here. At the shop we pierce with 2 separate, I guess they're talking about the industrial.
Yep.
We pierce with 2 separate bars and then put the longer one in after it heals. No one comes back with issues. We just make sure that the angles still match up when changing to the longer bar.
Interesting.
Yes.
Cool.
I know there's a lot of shops that actually do that, and I've just never worked at one of those shops. I've just really had it drilled into my brain that it's this one bar only for that whole migration reason. So awesome. Thanks for chiming in.
Thanks for joining and in
welcome
the
to the
survey.
chat.
And welcome to the channel.
Yes, indeed. From Twists, Turns, and Tarot.
Nice.
Oops, sorry, I got the hiccups. I got the hiccups this time.
I haven't had it this episode.
I know, I just thought of that. I know I'm going to jinx you. Pass them along to me. Hello, I got my septum pierced. Yeah, right. I got my septum pierced 5 weeks and a day ago and have been cleaning it twice daily. Should I back down to once a day for cleaning by this point? By the way, I love your channel.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I would cut back a little bit. I mean, if you have a lot of crusties and you need that 2 times a day, definitely do it. But I mean, at this point, it should be pretty well healed up enough to where you don't need to do it as much. And if you don't have any crusties, you don't necessarily even need to keep cleaning it. Just once in a blue moon, you got to check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I agree.
Yeah. Less is more, and that's one thing
Yes.
we need to listen to our body. Instructions might say it needs to be 6 to 8 weeks to be fully healed or whatever it might be. But if you don't have crusties, then just let your body do its thing. The body does the healing, not the chemicals.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Here's a good question from the best name of all time, Summoning Sloth 7. I love sloths. I just want to toss it out there that at Pittsburgh's, I think, zoo, they have a sloth that paints, and his name is Valentino. And you can get
She's gonna get a sloth next week. Watch.
Yeah, right. No, it's wild. He'll like hold a little paintbrush, and it's
Oh my
an
goodness.
incredible thing. But their question is, can a mantis piercing be placed lower on the nose, soft tissue triangle area, which we kind of were just talking about? I know.
I say yes.
Yeah, my friend, whose her Instagram tag is Metal Elevator. Go check her out. She pierces at Mantis. She's awesome. She was like the apprentice after me and has been piercing longer than me, which is funny. But she has like a couple of different mantis piercings, like some on the lower part of her nose, and it looks really, really cool.
As long as you're kind of going perpendicular to the tissue, and I mean, like it's definitely possible, and you could have a completely different look. Like if you had some sort of like little cones or spikes or little opal spikes coming out of there, I think it could look kind of neat, you know?
Cool, yeah.
So it depends on the look you're going for, and it depends on the shape of your nose. Like, I think when we were looking at mine, the reason mine are placed where they're at is because I eventually wanted to have rings in mine. So that's where I keep forgetting I got to put those rings back in. Yeah, they're all healed up enough.
Bars
I need
keep sticking out.
time for some rings.
Yeah, booty.
Yep. But yeah, personal preference. We tried the rings once. They got irritated and was like, nope, go back. So
Awesome.
I loved them when I had them though.
They were really sick. As soon as I saw them, I was like, man, I really wish I thought of that. From patient 0, I stretched my earlobe to an 8 gauge in November. A week later, I slept on it wrong and had a pressure injury. It's still not healed. I've changed from glass to straight implant grade titanium. Please advise.
It sounds like an irritation bump. Maybe emu oil might help calm it down. Sometimes if your plugs are too short, a little bit of swelling, or if like that O-ring's pinching, that's what you need, slightly longer plugs. I know Gorilla Glass makes extra long plugs.
Yes.
Just make sure that the O-ring or whatever jewelry's not being sucked in. And I'm also guessing you probably have single flare plugs where you have the O-ring on the back. If it's a saddle plug where it's saddled on top and bottom, sometimes that flare or that ridge can be enough to cause the irritation too. So straight plugs.
Mm-hmm.
Treat it like a new piercing. Is
Yeah.
usually what I say.
Yeah. If you have crusties, use that wound wash spray, get the crusties off there. Depends on what are they wearing for jewelry? They said titanium or glass?
Implant grade titanium. They switched from glass to implant grade titanium.
Glass should have been fine as long as it wasn't too short. So
Depends on where the glass comes from though too. It's like
yeah,
mixed
there's
with a bunch
different
stuff.
grades
It's
of
not
glass.
just like or the paint that they're using on it can have
paint.
yeah. If some glass is painted or has like a paint in it or like mixed in the glass, like slag glass, I believe it's called. It's mixed in with some sort of paint, but it can have like all sorts of chemicals in the paint. Not all paint is safe to be on the body. Not all glass is safe for the body. It just depends on where you got them from.
Yeah.
Yep. I would stick with the implant grade titanium and just
And did they say they stretched or got pierced at?
They said they stretched it to an 8 gauge and then slept on it funny. And I guess
Worst comes to worst, go back down to the 10 for a week or two, let it calm down, and then the stretch will be easy to go back up to the 8, and that might be enough where you just take the pressure off there to get rid of any sort of bump or irritation. That's the next thing if you can't get rid of the bump. Downsize.
I think that's good advice.
Yep.
Yes.
Hi, from Rebecca B. Hi, Scott and Kelsey. What is
Hello.
a unique piercing that you would like to do / have done recently? So Scott, you and I talked about something that you wanted to do back in the day and never did, which was the uvula punch.
Oh,
Ooh.
I thought you meant to do instead of get. Yeah. My friend
Do or have done is what she said.
do or have done. Yeah, I've never liked my uvula. I've just
Oh yeah, you got a big uvula.
yeah. So I got this uvula, the punching ball thing in the back of your
I don't know
throat.
if we can see it.
Oh,
Not really.
no, you're not
trust
going to
us.
see it. Anyways, sometimes when I sleep, it's like it's big enough where I hear a click. I'll hear it. And it drives me nuts. So I just wanted to get rid of it. And my friend Shane, who has done uvula piercings in the past,
Crazy Shane.
we talked about doing a biopsy punch, like putting like a 4-gauge plug in there, like being able to punch it and being able to get the plug in there and get the O-ring. We talked about it, and I was like, it'd be a fun, crazy thing. And it's not something that I would wear forever. It's just like, hey, look what we did.
Yeah.
You know, and probably took it out a week or so later before I ate the jewelry. It's a matter of time.
God.
You know, so I don't know. And then it's like, worst comes to worst, just have the uvula removed so I don't have that click when I'm sleeping at night. Now you know a little bit more about me.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's something I've always wanted to get. I would never pierce a uvula, but I thought about getting mine done. So
when I saw the uvula piercing, I don't even remember. It was like back in like the AOL days. And then you can like look up different piercings.
Every time I see one, it just makes me like cough. Like
yeah, I'm like, I couldn't imagine like having to like swallow or something and feeling it.
That would
it would drive me nuts.
Nova, pull up a uvula piercing. See if there's anything that pulls up there. So
actually,
I mean, people can only assume.
Yeah.
That you know what we're talking about, but it's a crazy piercing.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I could not imagine.
What about you, Kelsey? What would you want?
So, I mean, especially after doing Novas, I call them manvils.
Yeah.
The manvils, the man navel. I love navel piercings on men. I love them. It's not a girl piercing. A lot of people think that it's for like females or that it's feminine, but like, dudes with navel piercings, that's like the hardest shit ever.
Yeah, so just throwing it out there, the amount of like positive attention I got for the navel piercing was insane. Like, so yeah, if anyone out there is like, I don't know if I'm a dude and I don't know if I should get my navel pierced. Yes, you
navel
should.
piercings on dudes, love them.
And
love
it
them.
Just looks so cool.
I would like to do more if you're willing. I love chunky navel pieces on men. I think they look amazing.
I do too.
So
I had this guy come in many years ago, probably 20 years ago now, and he was in like 3-piece suit, you know, like business guy, whatnot. Came in, he's like, "Yeah, I'm here to get my navel pierced," and I was just like, "Okay, you know." We just like,
sure.
He goes, "I need a pink gem," and I was like, "Okay, this is out of the norm." I'm like, "Why are you getting your navel pierced with a pink gem, or what's up?" He goes, "Well, I'm getting married next week, and my wife always thought it'd be super cute if I had a navel piercing, and her favorite color's pink." And I was just like,
I love
that is the raddest thing ever. And again, it's just like, it's not just for women. You're absolutely right.
No.
And it's like,
I'm constantly trying to convince my dude friends, to get their belly buttons pierced. I'm the belly button grabber.
Careful when you're in public.
Perfect belly button for piercing. Let me pierce it. Let's go.
So, yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, there's no real anything. You know, you want to get a pierced, go for it. I also remember back in the day, Tommy Lee got his Monroe pierced.
Yeah.
And that was a feminine piercing back in the day. And it's like, he did it.
But
Everyone's
looked
like,
so good on
and then
him.
it looked so good. And it's like, yeah, that's.
Yep. And then more dudes were getting the Monroes or the double Monroe piercing.
I got my double Monroes right afterwards. Yeah.
Most of my friends back in California ended up doing it. My best friend, Jimmy, he had his several times.
Yeah.
Tyler, so many people.
Awesome.
Yeah, and when you wear a mustache, a Monroe with a mustache,
super cool.
Just right
We gotta bring those back now,
I-
because he has the perfect spot right here. See where he doesn't have the mustache connecting to his upper lip?
Yeah.
Bam,
that'd
high
be
Monroes.
perfect.
I need more piercings in this area.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Let's get through these.
Before we do that, this is the
uvula.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep, there's Scott
Gotta love him.
talking about one right there.
Yep.
Cool.
Interesting.
Alrighty. Let's see. Lillian stopping in saying, "No more room on my ears now. Done top to bottom and inside. Love to hear it."
Nice.
Wow, that's
Heck
impressive.
yeah.
Just kind of curious, how many piercings do you have?
Yeah.
I
That's a
think
lot.
she's told us in the past, and yeah, it was a big number. I remember like 30s
Yeah, I
to
think
50s,
30s.
So
something like
impressive.
that.
So impressive.
Very cool.
And then at this point, you know, it's like, it's expensive, but what you do is you theme it out differently. You change things up. Change some studs to rings, rings to studs. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hi,
Hi.
Scott and Kelsey from
Hello.
Alice. I'm let's see. Bruh, you for real? Asks, hi guys. A little embarrassing, but I've started to notice some buildup on the bottom ball of my tongue ring right where it meets the bar. And I've even noticed some on the bar right above the ball.
Yep.
Yes.
That's plaque. You just gotta brush your
scrub it.
jewelry occasionally. It's the stuff that builds up on your teeth. So same thing with brushing your teeth. While you're brushing your teeth, get a little toothbrush. Sometimes it's on there really hard. You can get like a tooth picker, the little metal scraper or something. You can use that.
No, wooden.
Sorry,
not metal.
Don't do metal.
I have seen
You're gonna scratch up your jewelry.
Oh yeah, don't scratch up the jewelry. That's terrible.
I have seen some, and please make sure to do that regularly, because I have seen and had to pull some abominations out of people that haven't gotten the plaque off of the bottom of their tongue ring ever, and it's been on there for 13 years, and it can actually calcify.
Yep.
And it is one of the grossest things you can ever smell.
I have
ever.
legit pulled jewelry out of someone's. They're just like, I just can't get this stuff. It just builds up all the time. I have to change my jewelry constantly. I mean, make it a normal thing to brush your jewelry when you're brushing your teeth. It's in your mouth anyways. You might as well. But yeah, I took the jewelry off, and as I was unscrewing, it was breaking off and falling into their mouth, and I had to wipe it out, and it was just, I was like, I am so sorry, I'm getting it. They were like, it's okay, I'll just rinse after. I'm like, okay. Terrifying.
It's gross. It's really gross. So if you've had your tongue piercing for quite a while, more than 3 or 4 months, you can probably unscrew your barbell, take it all the way out. That's when I say take a toothpick and you can hard scrape it. That toothpick isn't going to scrape, but you'll break off all of that, and so it doesn't break off in your mouth. That's what I did when I had my tongue pierced. Unscrew it, and just clean it off really, really well. Clean it with soap and water. You put it back, and you're gonna be good for a long while again. But some people just naturally get that plaque buildup on those barbells. It does happen. Don't let it freak you out.
Agreed. All right, we're down to about 10 minutes, so I'm going to try and scoot us through as many of these as possible. Yeah, speed round.
Speed round.
First, hey guys, it's Luis with the Trident. I believe you did that Trident Industrial. Cool. Just saying hi. He said it's healing amazingly, but he moved from Vegas, so he won't be getting pierced by us for a while.
Oh.
But
when you come back, make sure you come and visit, okay?
Yeah, would love to say hi.
And thanks for saying hi. Yes.
Yeah, or just take a picture. I'm glad everything's healing good. I also love this name, the Wolf of Pennsyltucky. I'm from Pittsburgh originally, so shout out. Hey guys, love your channel. Got me to take the plunge last year and just did my 10 gauge earlobe stretch. Love y'all.
Congratulations.
Love it.
10 gauge.
Let's see.
Cheers to 10 gauge.
Cheers to 10 gauge. From Keith McBride. I have glasses now. I'm not sure I can get contacts because of how bad my eyes are, but I really want to get a bridge piercing next. Any tips or suggestions for getting it done with glasses?
You can absolutely. Yeah.
Just don't wear glasses.
Yeah. You'll have a cool bridge piercing instead. Just kidding.
Better pick.
No. Bridge piercing and glasses are okay. I mean, as long as they don't sit too high up on your face,
it depends on the glasses.
Depends on the glasses. But the kind that have the ones that rest mostly on your nose versus the bridge. Yeah, the little paddles, the little feety guys, Those
makes it work a little bit better. Yes. But yeah, it depends on the glasses you get, and yeah, if your glasses don't work now, next time you go get glasses, just kind of really shop around and say, hey, is there anything that can kind of pull it away from that area so you can? Because if it's resting up against it, you will have problems.
Yep. But
Agreed.
bridge piercings and glasses, they do mix.
They can work.
They can. For sure. From Fun KY. Hey, I asked you about cheek piercings not long ago, and I took you up on reconsidering. I got my nipples pierced instead. 21 piercings at 18 years old now. That's awesome.
Nice.
Loving them. Love you guys.
That's
Y'all are amazing.
Congratulations.
We
love having you here. Thank you.
Let's see. From Elias again. If you could only pierce one type of piercing for the rest of your careers, what would it be? That's tough.
That's tough. I don't think I could decide because I love piercing in general.
I have an answer.
Yeah.
Yes.
What is it?
It's earlobes.
Yeah.
Everybody wants earlobes, and that way allows me to give me a profession so I can continue piercing for the rest of my life.
There you go. Yeah. And they're easy enough too. So.
That's the only reason why.
I was going to say, what if you take that part out of the equation?
And it's if people are just coming in to get pierced and you only have one piercing.
Yeah, and it's the one set of piercings that we never have to turn people away from doing. You don't necessarily have to have the anatomy for it. You can have the tiniest little lobes and still get a lobe piercing.
I'm going to have to say nipples then.
Okay.
I love my nipples being pierced.
Okay.
And there isn't a more rewarding piercing by our clients.
That's
never
true.
see a bigger
Yeah.
smile in the mirror.
Mhm.
And it's the most rewarding, the most confident boosting. You get a lot of options for jewelry.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Lobes and nipples.
Lobes and nipples.
Mine would be conch, just because they're probably my favorite piercing, and they're not hard.
Exactly. And it's, you have a lot of options for jewelry. You can do
Yep.
upper, lower, different angles. Yeah. So
Rings. All
Yep.
Yep.
stuff. Let's see. Here's a good question from
God, that was a
Jupiter.
great question.
Is the piercing Bible reliable?
For the most part, yes.
Depending on the version that you're getting.
There's
old
how
one,
many?
right?
2 or 3?
There's 2 versions. I mean, like they did some revisions in the second one, but just to make it a little better. But I don't know if there was any revisions which were like, oh, this is wrong information or bad or dangerous. I think there's just updates.
There was
Yeah.
the cabbage thing, right?
I don't remember that. What was that?
It was like to put like cabbage leaves on your nipples and materia or something like that while you were healing. Maybe
Interesting.
yeah.
That's like an old midwife's
don't
tale. So
remember
when
that
you're
one.
breastfeeding and like when your breasts get like engulfed or like really sore, like you have like a plugged milk duct, you can take cabbage and literally wrap your boob with cabbage, and it helps
heard of that
alleviate
before.
that. Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Interesting.
an old
Yeah,
wives'
Cool.
tale thing.
my first week of
But it works.
my first week of my apprenticeship, I basically had to do a book report on the piercing Bible, and he was like, find everything that seems right and everything that seems wrong, and that was the only thing that I thought that I noticed, at least, or that I can think of. at this
Gotcha.
moment.
Gotcha.
I don't
For the
think that
most
it can
part, it's
draw
good
out back.
information.
Yeah. It's really good information, but yeah, I would say I don't necessarily think it would draw out bacteria, but it helps with swelling.
Now, here's
inflammation.
something else you need to keep in mind. Every piercer has a different opinion. There's probably piercers who watch me. I can't go because he says you only heal industrial with 1 bar in there. That's my opinion. It's not fact.
Right.
It's just I do what I think is best, and other piercers do the same thing.
Right.
When Elaine Angel wrote the Piercing Bible, she's trying to give out the best information to her knowledge. She's
Exactly.
very, very intelligent,
Yes.
and it's mostly correct, and it's
Yep.
a really good source of information. Can you look at it as like fact and like the almighty?
It's not Bible.
No,
Yeah.
nothing is that level.
Right.
But take it with a grain of salt. Does it work for you? If it does, cool. And yeah, you got to grow off every piece. I take multiple pieces of information. It's not like I go to one specific school and then never saw anything else or stopped learning. You got to continue to learn because time. Yeah.
Agreed.
Exactly.
That's why there was an evolution of the Piercing Bible.
Yep.
Second version, and they revamped it, and then times change.
Yeah,
it's a new industry.
We learn, and I also agree with you, Scott, that if you're getting information from one place or person, you're probably not getting the whole story.
Right.
So
You're
that's
missing pieces.
for sure.
Yes.
All right, we got a couple more questions. I'm going to scoot through them. We got 6 minutes.
All right.
My wife is thinking about getting a dermal piercing on her shoulder in the center of a tattoo. Would her piercing often get caught on clothing? ? Love the channel.
It really depends on where on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Now, if you're on the outskirts here, probably a little less. But if it's more
On like the round of the
like
shoulder
the round
or
of
the
the shoulder,
front.
like where a bra strap or where clothes might get caught, or an area that might get bumped or hit.
Yeah.
I think the arm is a little bit better. Now, I used to have some dermal anchors when I'm looking on the TV, like right in the eyes here, okay? And I hit it on every counter, every doorway, and I tried it twice, and both times were just nightmares for me. So it's really hard to say.
It's hard to say,
Yeah,
What-
you may
but I would
also-
say try it. I love microdermal piercings.
I would go
Personally.
the Kelsey route and the whole same thing with the bridge. Get some glue and glue the dots on there and try to wear it for a day. See if
See if
your
you knock it
shirts-
off. Yeah,
you're
if things
knocking it
get
off,
caught,
if
that's a
it's-
really good idea.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yay!
Yeah. Yay.
I also
Piercing testers.
I want to throw it in there
Tests.
that I feel like you may struggle to find a good piercer that would be willing to do a shoulder dermal on somebody, at least back in PA.
Depends on the area.
I've
Yeah.
done them before on the
I have
arms.
microdermals on people's arms that are still alive to this day, on the
Yeah.
leg even.
So yeah, it's possible, but they're getting tougher to find people who do microdermals because
They don't want to risk it being ripped out. So
Yep.
yeah,
Cool.
your safety is the most important.
and it will pull color out of that tattoo.
Yes, that is true.
It
too.
will when you're done. So
From Dragon X-Ray. Scott can write a book with all the stories he has, co-written by Kelsey and Nova.
Yes. That's a genius idea.
I have so many stories.
Doing it.
It's true. And Lillian is up to 40 piercings now, so that's
That's
crazy.
pretty darn impressive.
That's impressive. Good job.
job,
From
man.
Deandra Dahl. Good morning, Scott and Kelsey. I really want my tongue pierced, but I'm worried about the potential damage on my teeth and gums. If I change the ball to acrylic, will it prevent this damage? And they said, is acrylic sage for everyday use? Question mark.
Safe.
No.
Safe. Yeah, that
Safe.
would make sense.
I
Yeah.
would say no. I'm not a
Acrylic
huge fan
sage?
of
I
acrylic.
was like, I don't know what that is.
You mix sage in with acrylic, the beads, and it's like the whole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No.
So again, as far as the tongue piercing goes, it depends on where you're pierced, who you're pierced by, all the good things. But just the length of the jewelry is the most important as far as your gums and your teeth go. As long as it's not pierced too far forward, your gums and teeth should be perfectly fine. As long as you're keeping up with downsizing, getting a tongue piercing is a perfectly safe piercing to get. So yeah, just keep it in mind.
And the acrylic. Some
Yeah.
acrylic is softer. Some of it's not very soft. Some of it's dental acrylic and can be just as hard as your teeth.
Some of it's
So you
cheap
can
acrylic and full
still
of chemicals.
do damage. Now, a lot of the acrylic also has a metal bar on the inside. So if you bit down on that plastic bead, you might break the bead, but you can still bite down on that metal threaded bead on the little that connects it on the inside. So there's so many factors. If you're really concerned about the damage to your teeth and things like that, you shouldn't get the piercing done. There's always a chance that any bead can come unthreaded and you bite down and you do damage that way. So it's a possibility. But like Kelsey said, downsize, shorter bar, and that
Don't play with
minimizes a lot of the damage.
Playing with your tongue ring is another big thing. So like how people click it against their teeth, you're just going to chip your teeth
Yeah.
doing that.
Plastic jewelry is made for retainers, for X-rays, MRIs, and operations.
Yeah.
That's
Short
it.
term. All right, we've got one more question, but let's see. We made it through
Yay.
to drawdown. I got my septum pierced 316. There are 0 signs of infection, but this week the upper left quadrant of my face has gone numb. Ever heard of this happening? Nerve damage? Question mark. I'm gonna say that's probably not because of the piercing, and you should probably consult a doctor.
I
Right.
agree 100%. A tongue piercing should not make your face go
septum.
numb.
Septum.
Septum.
Yeah, septum. You don't really
No.
have any nerve connecting.
The upper
like-
left quadrant. Yeah, no, you need to see a doctor. I don't know. It's not piercing related.
No.
Yep, especially considering
Sorry,
you said it
yeah.
was the 16th, so that was almost a month. Yeah, I would say that's beyond the realms of what a piercer can help you with.
Ooh,
Yes.
Yeah, no. Best of luck with that.
I don't
Hope
know.
everything's okay.
So
Absolutely. And to answer that last minute question that just popped in, our studio is located in Las Vegas, Nevada.
yes, yeah, we're right on Tropicana. We're about 4 miles right off the strip. So it's fairly easy to get to. If you want to come in, make sure you set up an appointment.
Mm-hmm.
I just go to our website, www.piercing.vegas, and you schedule your appointment right there. So, and that's where we are going to wrap it up today.
Ripe it up.
Ripen
We're
it
ready
up.
and ripe.
So
Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe.
and keep what holds your body.
Yeah.
See you all in the next video.
Stream ended.
Yay.
Success.
Stole that from me.